There are some things about life that are just not explainable. How about this one? A bouncing teenager suddenly discovers that she has a tumor. We don't have the answers to that. I don't think that any of us really do. But it's amazing how this 17-year-old lady has coped with this illness and the trauma of it. Tom Cottle recently met with Andrea Botticelli and her entire family in Weston to talk about how Andrea is coping and also how it has changed the entire family's outlook on life.
Here you go.
8 months after a life-threatening stroke and discovery of a malignant tumor, Andrea Botticelli's goal is the same as it was a year ago, to graduate from Weston High School. Although her senior year is far from what anyone would have expected, Andrea's come a very long way from that terrifying August day in 1984.
That day was sort of a blur, because she woke up and she said, "Carolyn, stay in the room and tell me where I am." And she said that she had a nightmare. So I kind of related just the experience she was having after she went from feeling her temple to not really knowing what was going on in surgery and coming out of it as what she called a nightmare. That experience was in fact what it was. And she wanted Sandy to tell her about it, and she wanted me to tell her about it, and I think my mother was in the room at that point. And then from that point on, she had to grow up so fast. I mean, it was senior year, the beginning of her senior year in school for her, and all of a sudden, medical people just take over.
The shocks became more and more progressive because we didn't know what was wrong. Billy was there all the time. We went down to Newton Wellesley. We didn't know what the cause of this was, and we heard she had a stroke, and a very severe stroke. They couldn't really tell until she had a CAT scan, but she was convulsing and what have you. And we went from a stroke to surgery, near death, the surgery, and then found out she had a relatively enormous malignant tumor, which was the basis of the stroke, and things started to progress from there.
A vibrant teenager, an outstanding athlete, Andrea was looking forward to competing on the women's soccer team. Now, even though her cleats hang in the closet, someday she hopes to be back on the field. That sense of optimism is apparent when you meet her, as well as her entire family. The Botticelli family is a large, close-knit clan. Parents, kids, son-in-law, fiancé, granddaughter, Andrea's boyfriend who is living with the family, a Yorkie, and an open front door through which many friends pass. Each member of the family felt Andrea's illness in his or her own way, but no one felt it more deeply than her brother Billy, who was with her at the time of the stroke.
I was just getting out of bed about 2 o'clock.
Early.
This is the first time your mother learns of this.
Oh, no.
Ann was upstairs watching a movie with her friend Frank, and Frank came to the steps and yelled, "Bill, Ann's crying." So I came upstairs, and she was unable to talk to me because her face was numb, and she couldn't write me anything because her arms were numb. And right now my mouth is numb. And I was the only one home. Everyone was out, so I called the neighbor, asked if there was anything, saw if she was home to help us, and called the doctor, see if he could make a house call, but, I knew the thing that had to be done was take her to the hospital, so I just got her in Frank's car, and we took off to General Medical in Weston, and then from there, we got the ambulance to take us over to Newton Wellesley, and that's where we, were admitted to the emergency room and found out that she was having a stroke.
It was the most critical situation that's ever occurred in our family, and I think just the way he handled it was perfect. We could not have done it better as more experienced adults with emergency type situations, but this was super critical situation, and I think he handled everything just perfect, just perfect. We were so grateful for how he and Frank handled everything, and I can recall after looking at Andrea and seeing that there was nothing I could do for her or my husband could do for her, the nurses were taking charge in the emergency room, then looking over and seeing Billy, I couldn't believe how he had aged from the last time I had seen him. He had really aged. He was an old-looking Billy, not the Billy I had last seen.
For Andrea, the memories are all too vivid, yet she tries not to think about that day.
I don't forget it. I can't forget it. But it feels like feel like I can move around and go out to dinner or move around a lot more. I don't think about being sick as much. Before, when I was lying down in bed, unable to eat or speak or walk, I mean, of course I thought of it a lot more then. But now, when I'm running around the room yelling at people, going, turn the channel or give me a drink, and run around, I don't constantly think about it anymore, that's the best thing that's happened. Be quiet.
What symptoms remain, Andrea? Any?
Yeah, the weight problem. It's very hard for me to eat still and keep things down and gain back the weight I've lost.
How much weight have you lost?
Exactly. Around 37 and a half pounds. Around 37 pounds. Thank God, no. I needed it. But I need the strength, I need the energy back in my body. I had to get more comfortable with my new body that I have now, which I had to really work at.
The initial shock of the stroke and tumor have passed, and today the Botticelli family is nothing short of optimistic about Andrea's recovery. That is reinforced by their supportiveness. Billy had plans to travel, but instead has chosen to stay at home with Andrea. Sandra chose not to go back to college in New Hampshire, and Michael, a professional skater, has given up the ice for the time being.
They wanted to be here. They wanted to be with Andrea. They wanted to have their energies helping her, and there wasn't anything that we said other than describing what the doctors were telling us, giving them the total information that Charles and I received was passed on to each one of the children, and they did what they felt they could do.
I feel like I was given an opportunity to do something better by coming back. I wasn't giving up anything in consideration of what's happened. Regardless of the opportunities I had, they weren't as good an opportunity to contribute again to the family just by being here. You know, the biggest thing I think any of us can do is just do what we're doing now. Cameras or no cameras, illness or no illness, the biggest and best thing we always have is what you cannot penetrate right here in this group is the strength of the group, the strength of the family.
As I spoke with each person in the large living room, it became clear that everyone was there out of a deep commitment to both Andrea and the Botticelli family. I turned to Susie, Michael's fiancée, then, for an outsider's perspective.
They have their ups and downs, but they're very, very happy, very loving, I think. The emotions are really strong. I mean, when they fight hard, but when they love each other, it's real strong.
Strength, nonetheless, cannot always conceal other emotions, such as fear and anger.
Oh, I'm petrified all the time. There are lots of times that I just don't enjoy waking up in the morning.
Why not?
Because I fear that we may lose her.
What about anger, Carolyn?
All the time. I just, all the time. And I think we take it out on one another. But the best thing is that we have that miracle formula that works sort of slowly sometimes and quickly at other times, and we reverberate off one another, and it's really neat.
But you do get angry, you do show fear.
Yeah, you can't help it, though.
Do you show it to her? Does Andrea know when you're angry and fearful?
If I cry, she just runs out of the room. I mean, she is in the kitchen if I'm in here. Just when I get upset, that makes her upset, and I can see it's hard for her to see what I've gone through. She doesn't want me to see me go through anymore. Maybe the cancer cells are gone from the radiation and all my treatments, but who knows? It could be reproducing right now, and there's no way we can never tell. I have had CAT scans about now once a month, and every time I'm nervous, I'm so nervous that I'm gonna go in there and find out something else is going on in my head again. The type of tumor I had, my doctors told me that it's an easy one to grow back. So, I can't think, okay, I'm done. And I don't think he can either, or anyone can, until it is done in 5 years from now. Or I'm
There's
20.
a lot of times that you At least seeing what she has been through, that, this may seem weird, but if you could take some of the pain off of her to do it for her, especially during her chemo. Just to see her lying there in the bed and staring at you like, you're not even there. She's looking right through you.
But she is determined to get back on her feet, and now is looking forward to graduating with her class in June.
I'm so excited that at first I didn't know if I could, but then I'm writing a report of my illness. It's getting me by, thank God. I have a tutor who comes 3 times a week, but sometimes for social occasions, because she's such a nice person. But yeah, I am doing work, and also I think I was doing work even before, not homework, doing work in the hospital, learning about chemotherapy and radiation therapy, and what it's like, to get yourself better.
Although life is not the same as it was, her friends have never let her down.
It makes me feel good just by knowing there's people out there who want to come over and just see me and spend time with me, knowing that I can't go out with them. They have to take time out of their day to come over and sit down and talk with me. So I appreciate that, and that's what I like best. We just talk about, who's going out with who.
Those visits mean a lot to Andrea, but she recognizes the difference between her priorities and those of other high school students.
The only thing I'd like to say is that there's so many people out there, younger than me, older than me, who all they're doing is working on getting their health back. That's all they're doing. They can't do anything. They can't go out to parties or go to school, and there are kids in school who just go out and get drunk and get high or whatever, abusing their bodies and not realizing how hard it is. And they don't really maybe they wouldn't appreciate what your health is until you've lost some and try to get it back. And I'd like people to realize it, because I'm sitting here knowing all the kids are in school, and it's not their fault. But I wouldn't have realized that until it happened to me. And now I'm just sitting here going, this really stinks, because all I'm doing is getting my health back and just working at it, and that's all I'm really focusing on. Why people are like, oh, what's my hair look like? Or, oh, I didn't get to that party, and oh, I didn't get drunk, and I drank this or drank that, and how really stupid it all is. And it is so, it's not even, what's the word? It doesn't even matter. When something bad happens, you think all your problems are like your boyfriend's is being a jerk or something, or like those are your serious problems. When something else happens, you realize what you took for granted before.
Andrea has shown us how extra special she is with the circumstances that are presented to her right now, but everyone else is really extra special too. And we're all dealing with it and trying to help her, but she helps us most of all. She really helps us most of all.
Oh, one very special lady. We wish Andrea Botticelli well with her graduation. We have been in touch with her, and she's doing very well. Good words from a lady who's certainly been there.